In the tapestry of modern history, few names shimmer with the enduring light of Princess Diana. She was born into privilege, yet destined to challenge the very institution that raised her. Loved by millions, misunderstood by many, and ultimately lost far too soon, Diana's story is one of compassion, conflict, and a courage that redefined what it meant to be royal. Today, we revisit the extraordinary life of the woman the world called the People's Princess. This is her story, unfiltered, unforgettable, and still echoing decades later. Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1, 1961, in Sandringham, England, one of the aristocratic Spencer family's grand homes. Though descended from nobility, Diana's childhood wasn't a fairy tale. At just 7 years old, she witnessed the painful breakup of her parents' marriage, an experience that shaped her deep empathy and her lifelong desire to comfort others. She was shy, sensitive, and fiercely devoted to her siblings. Friends recall a young girl with a warm spirit, a playful smile, and dreams of doing something meaningful, though she never imagined her destiny would intertwine with the future king. When Diana met Prince Charles in 1977, she was just 16. Their paths crossed again years later, this time under the watchful eye of the media. To the world, they appeared perfect, beautiful, youthful Diana and Charles, the heir to the British throne. In February 1981, the royal family announced their engagement. Diana became an instant global fascination. She was 20 years old, suddenly thrust into an international spotlight she had never asked for. And on July 29, 1981, over 750 million people watched as she walked down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral. The tiara sparkled. The gown flowed like a cloud of ivory silk. It was hailed as the wedding of the century. Yet behind her iconic smile, storms were brewing. Becoming Princess of Wales transformed Diana's life overnight. She struggled with overwhelming media attention and the rigid expectations of royal life. She faced loneliness, anxiety, a marriage that was already fragile. What the public didn't know then was that Charles and Diana were growing increasingly distant. Pressure from the press and the strain of royal protocol only widened the gap. By the late 1980s, rumors of extramarital affairs and conflict within the palace spilled into the headlines. And yet, despite her private struggles, Diana discovered a purpose that made her shine in ways the crown never could. Diana had a gift, a rare ability to make people feel seen. She became a global symbol of compassion, championing causes that others avoided. She held the hands of AIDS patients when fear and stigma still dominated public perception. She ventured into war-torn regions to campaign against landmines. She visited shelters, hospitals, and orphanages away from photographers and away from applause. She redefined what it meant to be royal. Not distant. Not untouchable. But human. To Diana, her most important role wasn't princess, it was mother. She wanted William and Harry to grow up understanding life beyond palace walls. She took them to amusement parks, fast food restaurants, and homeless shelters. She hugged them openly, something rarely seen in the royal family. In return, the princes adored her. They remember her laughter, her warmth, and her ability to turn even the hardest moments into lessons of kindness. In 1995, Diana spoke candidly in a now-famous interview that shook the monarchy. She discussed her struggles, her mental health, and the breakdown of her marriage. One line became iconic: "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." The world listened, and sympathized. Her honesty made her more beloved than ever, but it also intensified tensions within the royal family. In 1996, Charles and Diana officially divorced. For the first time in years, Diana felt free. She carved out a new identity, no longer a senior royal, but still one of the most influential women in the world. She pursued her humanitarian work with renewed energy. She traveled, she advocated, and she began living life on her own terms. On August 31, 1997, tragedy struck. Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris. The news stunned the globe. Millions wept openly. Mountains of flowers covered the gates of Kensington Palace. Even those who had never met her felt as though they had lost someone dear. Her death marked the end of an era, and the beginning of her legend. Nearly 3 decades later, Princess Diana remains one of the most beloved figures in history. Her humanitarian courage lives on through her sons. Her compassion reshaped the role of the monarchy. And her ability to connect with the world, one heart at a time, continues to inspire generations. Princess Diana was more than a princess. She was a symbol of empathy. A voice for the unheard. A reminder that kindness is its own form of power. And so, her story lives on, not in palaces or crown jewels, but in the millions of lives she touched. This has been the story of Princess Diana, the people's princess, forever.